Hello everyone, good evening. I am Reynald Apura and welcome to our discussion. And for today's topic, we will going to discuss about the environmental ethics. And before we start our proper discussion, let's read first the objectives. So our objectives for today's topic is at the end of this lesson, you will be able to first learn what is environmental ethics is all about. Second, learn what are the underlying factors under environmental ethics. And lastly, identify your ethical assumptions in order to improve or protect the environment. Now, let's start with our proper discussion. What is environmental ethics? Environmental ethics is a branch of applied philosophy that studies the conceptual foundations of environmental values as well as more concrete issues surrounding societal attitudes, actions, and policies to protect and sustain biodiversity and ecological systems. It is also a branch of ethics that studies the relation of human beings and the environment and how ethics play a role in this. Environmental ethics believe that humans are a part of society as well as other living creatures, which include plants and animals. So, ang environmental ethics kay nag-aim siya to provide ethics justification and more motivation for the cause of global environmental protection. So, nakandak ang environmental ethics in order for the environment to have an ethical consideration in how to protect our environment. So, kita humans, nagpuyo diri sa kalibutan, we have different interpretation or different ways in interpreting environmental issues or our decision about what we should do or should not do with the natural sources depend partly on our underlying worldviews. So for example, you have a primary ethical assumption nga you need to do positive things or good things towards the nature. So with that, mauna siya ang imuhang ways in order to help our environment, in order to protect our environment. So, mauna imong gibuhat, kitungod, ang imong interpretation sa environmental issues is different. So, we all have different ways to help our environment and we all have different, because we all have different interpretations of the environmental issues. So, next is moral values. So under sa ethical ethics, we have moral values. Moral values are the key components of a person's character. So ang moral values in society also changes over time. So ang kaning moral values is your attitude towards the environment. Para sa itong example ganina nga, you should do good things towards the environment kay since imong naka-interpretation, own interpretation sa environmental issues. So over time, we have gradually extended our sense of moral value to a broader circle, an idea known as ethical extension. So since change is constant, so over time, kay naji changes mahitabo, and so does our moral values, naga-extend ang atong moral values. So there are two under aning moral values, two kinds of values. How we treat other people, animals, or things can also depend on whether we believe they have first, inherent value, or second, the instrumental value. So under ni siya sa moral value. First, for the inherent value, it is an intrinsic right to exist or the value that the thing has in itself or for its own sake. While the instrumental value, they have value because they are useful to someone who matters and it is only valuable for what it may get you. So, ang inherent value, kay you value it for itself. Since naa na siya value daan, so mo na imo siyang gina-value. Ang instrumental value is gina-value nimo siya because it may lead you to something else. So to better understand the difference between inherent value and instrumental value is that you should always remember nga ang inherent value is unconditional siya. Meaning to say, dili siya mag-base sa situation. Because whatever situations nga under siya, ang inherent value, dili gyud siya mawalan og value. Kibali ang iyang value ka dili magbaba, dili pod magtaas. Remain lang yun na iyang value. Ang instrumental value is conditional siya. Meaning to say, uh, if dili na kanang useful sa imo ang isa ka butang, it means mag-lessen ang iyang value. So, ang instrumental value is naga-base jud siya sa kanang katong sa tao nga naga-use atong certain thing or certain nga butang. So, mao na ang instrumental value. So, inherent, unconditional, ang instrumental is conditional. For example, sa inherent value, we have knowledge or moral actions. So with the knowledge, inherent value siya katungod uh, na siya value even though wala pa nimo siya gigamit, valuable na siya with the moral actions pod. And sa instrumental value, example is money. So ang money is magka-value lang siya basta gamiton na nimo siya kaprasa na mag-buy ka og things, ipalit nimo siya og mga pagkaon. So nagka-value lang siya kay imo naman siyang gigamit. So sa instrumental value is more lang siya og kanang tool nga gamiton sa isa ka tao. So sa instrumental value is naa jud intervention mahitabo kay tungod nana ang kanang ginabuhat sa tao, like nana ang kanang part ng human sa instrumental value. Kaysa inherent value kay bisan wala pa ang human, na nagyud siya own value daan. Like for example, our nature, bisan pag wala pang human, na nay value daan ng nature. And for the instrumental value is need pa uh, ng uh, kanang need pa siya ng intervention or kanang action sa tao kay para magkaroon siya ng value. So, moving forward, we have inherent value plus instrumental value will result to relational value. So I would like to add sa inherent value, ang inherent value, it may, however, possess a instrumental value. So why inherent value plus instrumental value is mag-result siya into relational value? Because relational value are reflect the manifold relationships between humans and nature and are rooted in these relationships themselves. So for example, sa inherent value is ang nature. Tapos, sa instrumental value is naan na ang intervention ng tao or katong part ng human. So, if ang environment or nature and human is join together, they will result into relational value katungod if ang human magdo good sa environment is magkaroon na sila ng relationship. So next, in conclusion, we all have moral values within us, and it's up to us whether we do good or bad in our environment. We all have different viewpoint of our world and its environmental problems, and it is our time to take ethical assumptions in our environment. And lastly, all these environmental ethics are signs and warnings for us people to help our environment improve and protect it at all costs. So, uh, we people nanatay mga moral values sa tuang kaugalingon, and as ako ang ingon ganina, we all have different perspective or interpretation sa environmental issues or problems nga nahitabo karon sa ato ang society. So it is up to us kung unsaon nato pag help ang atong environment ug unsang ways ang ato ang himuon para maprotektahan ug ma-improve ang ato ang environment. So these are my references for this topic. So, and that would be all. Thank you for listening and have a nice day.